How do sports teams impact on their city's brands?
Well, fans like to, fans in general rally around teams that are successful.
Right.
So in the case of Toronto, I mean, we just saw like an explosion of support for the Toronto Blue Jays. The hashtag was come together. That was like a rallying cry. And before that, the past 2 years with the Toronto Raptors, the rallying cry was "We the North." That was the mantra, and people really associated with themselves with that brand because it was cool. It was different. Where we the North are kind of outsiders from the rest of the NBA because the other teams are in the United States. So they as Canadians, they kind of found that as their identity. Same thing with the Toronto Blue Jays and come together. It was the whole country coming together in baseball and in basketball, respectively.
A few years ago, some athletes from the Blue Jays got together with some athletes from the Leafs, and they created team units.
Right. Yeah.
And that, I believe, is the first time that athletes from the same city got together and from different sports teams and promoted each other and bonded.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
That was very cool. That was I believe it was 2011 on the Jays. It was JP Arancibia, Jose Batista, Brett Laurie.
Yeah.
I feel like Travis Snyder was a part of that. On the Leafs, it was Bozak, Colby Armstrong. It was amazing. I mean, we would only be able to see that because we live in a social media era now.
Right.
So, maybe that happened in 2000 in like New York or Pittsburgh or Philadelphia, but we don't really know. But with the advent of social media, we could see how these teams are communicating. And I just mentioned the Toronto Blue Jays. Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan were at Blue Jays playoff games, and they're promoting each other. When the Raptors were in the playoffs, some of the Jays went to their games, and some of the TFC went to their. It's great. It's great for fans, and it's great for the teams to show that cohesiveness in that city.
And what do you think the fans feel about that? Do you find that fans kind of stick with the team, stick with the athlete, or stick with the sport?
Well, they definitely stick with the sport. I think they stick with their. That's a good question between the athlete and the team. They probably stick with their team because the team will always be there. The athlete has a lifespan, whether it's 10 years or 15 years, and sometimes athletes get traded or whatnot. But for the fans to see the relationship publicly between athletes from different teams in that city, I think it's very cool because they're seeing something they've never seen before, and they can rally around that too. Like it's great to see positivity on social media because there's a lot of hate.
Yes.
And obviously when things are going well for teams, people can really get behind that.
Do you think that also helps the marketing of the city? Because the Jays no longer became Toronto baseball, and the Leafs, like the players from the Leafs, no longer became Toronto hockey. Team Unit incorporated them all, and they became Toronto athletes.
Yeah, I think it's like because athletes hold so much weight as, I don't want to say influencers, but they have a lot of visibility in that city, and then if there are huge stars in those leagues, hockey and baseball respectively. So when like a 10-year-old sees that Colby Armstrong is tweeting at JP Arancibia, like, oh, that's cool. These guys are taught. They know each other. They're hanging out. And then there were some photos posted. I gave them T-shirts. I made up these T-shirts for the Jays and the Leafs, and I gave them to them. Like, yeah, these are presents from the other guys. And they're like, oh. And I think they made T-shirts eventually. But it's cool to see. I'm sure the fans really loved it.
Yeah. What advice do you have for women who want to get into sports broadcasting?
Say that again?
What advice do you have for women who want to get into sports broadcasting?
Same advice I would give to anybody. I would say work on, get your reps up on camera as much as possible. Be clever. You had some great questions. And just work on being clever. When people are reading articles or watching videos, they'll gravitate towards things that are that are either emotional, they connect to them emotionally, like what BuzzFeed does, or just like clever, like a fun or a cool perspective on a particular issue. So if that's your aspiration, I wish you luck. I'm sure you'll be fine.
Thank you.
You had great questions.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Finally,
sorry,
I'm not done. Don't leave
sorry.
the interview yet. You've interviewed a lot of celebrities and athletes.
Yes.
Who's been your favorite? If you can reveal that.
I have. They're kind of. Okay, well, celebrities are, they're used to being on camera. I mean, athletes are as well, but maybe not as far as like personality-wise, because they are exceptional at athletic performance. On camera performance, some of them aren't as great. So celebrities are generally a little bit easier to, certainly the funny ones. Like I've interviewed Will Ferrell, Will Smith, and Kevin Hart all this year.
Yeah.
These guys are amazing. And I was nervous. And then, but on the other hand, like I love interviewing Kobe Bryant because we have a great relationship, or David Ortiz who plays, or even Jose Batista on the Toronto Blue Jays, because Batista, I can get, like my nose can touch his eye. Like that's how close he'll let me get to him. And then I'll just say my stupidness, but he always plays along. So I'd say celebrities I have a little more fun with, but when the athletes that really get it, I have a great time with them.
All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
My
Loved
pleasure.
meeting you.
Great to meet you too, Katie.
Enjoy it. Thank you.